Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, everyone. So nice to see you all here on Zoom. So we completed the 10th chapter of first canto last Wednesday, and today we will hopefully complete the 11th chapter. The 10th chapter is entitled the departure of Lord from Hastinapur to Dwaraka. Mm. Lord Krishna came to Hastinapur, New Delhi, on the uh, reason because there was a war going on between the Pandavas and Kauravas. The battle of Kurukshetra was taking place. So Lord came to Hastinapur and he stayed for some time there. And then he was he was planning to depart, and then Mother Queen Kunti stopped. Yudhishthir stopped. Lord stayed for the pleasure of Pandavas, for pleasing his own sister Subhadra, and also to shower special mercy on Bhishma Dev, who was on the verge of his death, or leaving this planet. And then so Lord was ready to leave. That was the title of this chapter, and in the beginning of the last chapter, the 10th chapter, so the Shaunaka Muni, he asks question to Suta Goswami, how was the uh, how was the rule of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So Suta Goswami says that it was perfect rule, and everything was so perfect when Maharaj Yudhishthir was ruling. So earth gave abundant of food supply. Cows were moistening the ground with their milk, and all the seasons were perfectly taking place. There is adequate rainfall, only as much as necessary. uh, and all this is because he was the devotee of the Lord. When the Lord is pleased, everything else will be pleased. Then so Lord was departing. All the ladies of Hastinapur, they went to the roof of their palace, and they wanted to look at the Lord, and they offered prayers. They would actually chat. They were discussing, and we discussed a particular verse, text 20. So their chat, uh, their talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. Mm. Although they were simple ladies, So they were just directly glorifying the Lord. They were glorifying how fortunate the wives of Krishna are, as they are in close proximity, as they're always touching the body of Krishna. And gopis, they glorified gopis, they glorified Dwaraka, they glorified Mathura. And it was a talk between them, and this talk was more attractive to the Lord than the hymns of the Vedas. Then uh, Lord departed to Dwaraka. Mm. So this chapter uh, is entering into Dwaraka. So it is entitled uh, the entering of Lord Krishna to Dwaraka. So now we will request Madhakumar Prabhu. So may I ask someone to read from
Yeah.
110, please?
Yes. Philip Ramnal Prabhu, are you available to read?
I will just share the
Yes,
screen.
Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Hare
if you
Krishna,
can,
Prabhu.
Haribol Prabhu, if
Chapter
you can
11,
read.
Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka.
1 second,
Yeah,
Prabhu. 1 second.
just a
I'll
second.
I'll share the screen, and then it becomes easy for
And
everyone.
just the translations for the first 10 verses, please,
Okay,
Let
okay.
me share.
when the screen comes up.
Yeah, it is eventually.
Okay. Text 1. Sutta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as country of the Anatas, Dwarka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants. Text 2. The white and fat bowed conch shell, being gripped by the hand of Lord Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be reddened by the mouth, the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flowers. Text 3. The citizens of Dwarka, having heard that sound, which threatens fear personified in the material world, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector of all devotees. 4, 5. The citizens arrived before the Lord with their respective presentations, offering them to the fully satisfied and self sufficient one, who, by his own potency, incessantly supplies others. These presentations were like the offerings of a lamp to the sun. Yet the citizens began to speak in ecstasy, in ecstatic language to the receive the Lord, just as just as wards become just as
Welcome.
wards welcome their guardians and father. 6. The citizens said, O Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma and four Sanas, and even the King of Heaven. You are the ultimate rest for those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefits of life. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, and inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon you. 7. O Creator of the universe, you are our Mother, well wisher, Lord, Father, spiritual Master, and worshipful deity. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy. Text 6. Oh, it is our good luck that we have come again today under your protection by your presence. For your Lordship rarely visits even the denizens of heaven. Now it is possible for us to look into your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glances. We can now see your transcendental form, full of all auspiciousness. Text nice. Oh, lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan, or Stanipur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like millions of years. O infallible one, at that time our eyes become useless as if bereft from sun. Text 10. O Master, if you lived abroad all the time, then we cannot look at your attractive face, whose smiled vanquish all our sufferings. How can we exist without your presence? Upon hearing their speeches, the Lord, who is very kind to the citizens and devotees, entered the city of Dwarka and acknowledged all their greetings by casting his transcendental glance all over them.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari. So nice description. Um, how the people in Dwaraka felt. Mm. So when Lord reached the border of Dwaraka, uh, and he signaled his arrival by blowing conch shell. Mm. And there is a nice description here that this how it appeared, like, when you blow the conch shell, you put in your mouth and you blow, and so the Lord lips are so red, and the conch shell was white. Mm. So here there is a comparison, like it was like a white swan playing in the stems of red lotuses, lotus flowers. And upon hearing this sound, the Dwarakavasis, the people of Dwaraka, uh, they rushed to see the Lord. Mm. Just imagine they were in separation all these days. Uh, and so they can't, they couldn't stay all these days. So now they rush towards the Lord. And then so and then they offered prayers, and it is also said here, they also brought some presentations to offer to the Lord. And there is a nice sentence here saying that these presentations were like the offering of a lamp to the sun. Uh, Everything belongs to the Lord, isn't it? So even when we offer our boga, our food before we eat, uh, so it is actually belongs to the Lord. Isha vasamidam sarvam yat kinchit jagathaham jagat tena taktvena bunjita magrutaha kasya swabdhanam. Everything belongs to the Lord actually. So He is the owner. Sometimes when we give something to the Lord, people out of ignorance think that actually I am giving this much, but actually it is Lord's. Mm. So nice comparison here, like, sun. Sun is huge, big, bright light, and lamp is a tiny one. Mm. So, and his lamp is also part of the sun. Whatever is bright, uh, is able to give light and brightness, that is a part of the sun, and that is coming from the sun indirectly. Mm. So that's a nice way that we should think that everything is actually, when we do something to the Lord, um, yes, we are just trying to giving it back. People go to Ganges and they wanted to offer to Mother Ganga. So they enter into Ganges and they take some water and pour it back. Um, that's what we are also trying to do. And then they offered, uh, the citizens of Dwaraka, they offered prayers. So saying, how great the Lord is, and he's worshipped by Brahma and other great people like, uh, four Kumaras and etc. Uh, and one prayer I picked for us, maybe we can recite this. I felt this is a nice prayer. I'll share text 7, um, wherein they say, like, um, O creator of the universe, you are our mother, well wisher. Hmm? We are looking for well wisher, and Lord is our well wisher. And you are our Lord, Father, spiritual master, worshipable deity. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy. Hmm. So maybe we can offer this prayer on a daily basis. Hmm. I'll just recite this. भवायनस्त्वं भवविश्वभावना त्वमेव माताथ सुहृत्पथि पिता त्वं सद्गुरुर्नः परमं च दैवतं यस्यानुवृत्ताय यस्यानुवृत्ताय कृतिनो बभुविमा बभुविमा. Nice prayer to offer to the Lord, saying that, oh Lord, you are my mother, you are my well wisher, you are my Lord, you are my Father, spiritual master. Mm, and like that. So wonderful prayer. Maybe we can try and just memorize this verse. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy. Unless we ask, we never get, isn't it? If you don't ask, you don't get it. At least, we'll ask for the mercy, and then there is some hope.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice.
Nice,
Made a
nice
note of
prayer for us to offer. Uh,
Um, what,
so,
what
and
was the
they were telling that how fortunate they are. It's their good fortunate that they are able to see the Lord. Mm.
verse number 7. Someone asked, isn't
Yes,
it?
someone asked. Yes, it was text 7. Yes, the prayer. Um, so they were telling that they were thinking that they were very lucky to have the darshan of the Lord again. Mm. So I was discussing with Madhav Kumar Prabhu a few days ago. We are very fortunate to do some service to the Lord. Uh, um, you know, yes, Lord is giving this opportunity. Hearing is also service. Speaking is also service. Mm. So we are like, we are discussing this Bhagavatam, means it is special mercy of the Lord. That's how we should feel. Mm. We are able to get together and discuss this Bhagavatam, means as good as seeing the Lord. When we discuss this pastime, that pastime, we can picturize those dealings, those pastimes in front of us. Just like, Lord reached Dwaraka and he blew conch shell. Look at the lotus, nice red lips of the Lord, and the white conch shell there. uh, and then the citizens of Dwarka just rushed, uh, bringing various gifts, mm, and started to offer prayers. And then they are feeling that it's great, it's their fortune. mm, that they're able to see the Lord. They were just asking, "Oh my Lord, if you go to Vrindavan, Madhura, and Astinapur, how can we live like this? Every moment of your absence seems like millions of years." That's how they feel. Uh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says na in the Shishtastakam, Yugayutam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravarshayutam Shunyayutam Jagat Sarvam. Mm. So even in absence of um, one moment feel like millions of years. Mm. And so this is how they prayed to the Lord, and Lord accepted their prayers. And now he enters into Dwaraka. So now we'll request someone to read from text 11 till text 23. I will share the screen. 11 till 23.
Yeah. Ram Prabhu? Rammuti Prabhu, are you able to read? Probably not there. Um, Ravi Kiran Mataji, are you able to read? If you're there? Never mind. Swami Prabhu, Sarvaga Prabhu, is that Madhi Mataji or
Madhavi
Sarvaga Prabhu?
Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, my Prabhuji, me.
Yeah, so can you please read the next
She's
11 to
she's
17?
disguising herself as her husband.
Yes,
Mataji, if you can
text
read
11 and Prabhuji. Yeah,
11 to
Text 11
17.
till 23.
okay. As Bhagavati, the capital of 1 minute. The
Yeah.
Nagaluka.
Okay,
wait,
carry on.
Prabhuji, wait. The capital of Nagaloka is protected by the Nagas. So was Dwarka protected by the descendants of Vrishni. Bhoja, Madhu, Darsha, Harsha, Kukura, Adhaka, etc., who were as strong as Lord Krishna. Text 12. The city of Dwarakapuri was filled with the opulences of all seasons. There were hermitages, orchards, flower gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water breeding lotus flowers all over. Text 13. The city gateway, the household doors, and festooned arches along the roads were all nicely decorated with festive signs like plantain trees and mango leaves, all to welcome the Lord. Flags, garlands, and painted signs and slogans all combine to shade the sunshine. Text 14. The highways, subways, lanes, markets, the public meeting places were all thoroughly cleansed and then moistened with scented water. And to welcome the Lord, fruits, flowers, and unbroken seeds were strewn everywhere. Text 15. In each and every door of the residential houses, auspicious things like curd, unbroken fruit, sugar cane, and full water pots with articles for worship, incense, and candles were all displayed. Text 16:17. On hearing that the most dear Krishna was approaching Dwarka Dhama, magnanimous Vasudeva, Akrura, Ugrasena, Balarama, the superhumanly powerful, Pradyumna, uh, Karu, Karu,
Charudeshna.
Ardeshna.
Charudesha, Charudeshna and Samba, the son of Jambavati, all extremely happy, abundant, reciting, sitting, and dining. Text 18. They hastened toward the Lord on chariots with brahmanas bearing flowers. Before them were elephants, emblems of good fortune. Conch shells and bugles were sounded, and Vedic hymns were chanted. Thus they offered their respects, which were saturated with affection. Text 19. At the same time, many hundreds of well known prostitutes began to proceed on various vehicles. They were all very eager to meet the Lord, and their beautiful faces were decorated with dazzling earrings, which enhanced the beauty of their foreheads. Text 20. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on. Text 21. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, approached them and offered due honor and respect to each and every one of the friends, relatives, citizens, and all other who came to receive and welcome him. Text 23. The Almighty Lord greeted everyone present by the bowing his head, exchanging greetings, embracing, shaking hands, looking and smiling, giving assurances, and awarding benedictions even to the lowest in rank. Text 23. Then the Lord personally entered the city accompanied by elderly relatives and invalid brahmanas with their wives, all offering benedictions and singing the glories of the Lord. Others also praised the glories of the Lord. That's it, Prabhuji. 24 also?
Thank you, Mataji.
23,
Yeah,
Mataji. Thank you, thank you.
20. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Uh, so the next section talks about the, how a beautiful Dwaraka city was, and also how they welcomed, how the Syrians of Dwaraka people welcomed the Lord, and how Lord reciprocated with some of the Syrians. Mm. So uh, the beauty of the city of Dwaraka is nicely described in text 12. We will read the purport to get a feeling. So someone can read the translation and purport, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Ujjwal Mani Mataji, are you able to read?
okay, I'll share it.
Mataji, are you able to read when the screen comes up? Maybe she's on mute or something.
Yeah, don't worry. So ask someone else.
Yeah, no problem. Ambara, sorry, Mataji, you're there?
Yes, I'm there. Yeah.
Yeah, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Just the purport
Am I
for this
reading the
verse.
translation or purport, Prabhuji?
Purport, Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfection of human civilization is made possible by utilizing the gift of nature in their own way, as we find herewith in the description of the uplands. Dwarka was surrounded by flower gardens and fruit orchards, along with reservoirs of water and growing lotuses. There is no mention of mill and factories supported by slaughterhouse, which are the necessary paraphernalia of the modern
Metropolis.
metropolis. The propensity to utilize nature's own gift is still there, even in the heart of modern civilization man. The leader of modern civilization select their own residential quarters in the place where there were such a naturally beautiful gardens and reservoir of water. But they leave the common man to reside in
Congested.
congested area without parks and gardens. Herein, of course, we find the different descriptions of the city of Dwarka. It is understood that the whole Dharma or residential quarter was surrounded by such a garden and parks with a reservoir of water where lotuses grow. It is understood that all the people dependent on nature's gift of fruit and flowers, without not on the growth of mills and factories, to deteriorated the finer instincts of the human being, but on developing the potent spiritual instincts of human being and giving them a chance to go back to Godhead. Development of factories and mills is called urge karma,
Ugra,
Ugra
Ugra
Karma.
karma.
ugra karma, or
Pungent activities.
pungent activity, and such activity deteriorated the
Finer.
finer
Sen-
sentiments of the human being and society to form a dungeon
Dungeon.
of demons. We find hearing the mention of pious trees which produce seasonal flowers and fruit. The impious tree are useless jungles only, and they can only be used to supply fuels. In the modern civilization, such a impious tree are planted on the side of roads. Human energy should be properly utilized in developing the finer senses for spiritual understanding, in which lies the solution of life. Fruit, flower, beautiful gardens, park, and reservoir of water with ducks and swans playing in the midst of lotus flowers and cows giving sufficient milk and butter are essential for developing the finer tissues of the human body. As against these, the dungeons of mines, factories, and workshops develop demoniac propensity
Propensity
in the working class. The vested in
In,
interests
in flourish. Yeah,
flourish
flourish.
at the cost of the working class, and consequently, there are severe
Flashes.
clashes between them in so many ways. The descriptions of Dwarka Dham is the ideal of human civilization. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Very
Krishna.
well.
So it
Thank you,
is
man.
a nice coincidence that our Ujjwali Mani Mataji read this purport. So she is very dear to she loves Dwaraka, number one,
Yes,
and also she is into fruits and flowers.
yes.
Mataji makes garlands. Mataji likes to decorate the temple altar. Mataji likes to make so many flower garlands. Very interesting points here. So many
Yes.
interesting.
Vijay,
Yes, Prabhu, please.
yeah, the same sentiment I was experiencing as well. Just as we were starting to read the purport, Ujjwalani Mataji has a very nicely decorated and well maintained back garden with a little pond and lotus flowers as well in
Yeah,
there. So it's just amazing.
amazing.
Uh,
We don't select people. Krishna selects people.
Yes, 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 Prabhuji.
See,
Krishna
see,
Surely,
selected.
instruments.
yeah, see the beauty here: fruits, flowers, beautiful gardens, parks, and reservoirs of the water, with ducks and swans playing in the midst of lotus flowers, and cows giving sufficient milk, and butter are essential for developing finer tissues of the human body. Jai Ho. How the finer tissues of the human body are developed? By these natural processes, not by Prabhupada. The Prabhupada points repeatedly makes in this is that we are now into factories and mills. Prabhupada calls them as ugra karma, the unwanted activities. Actually, Prabhupada says here that they develop, they indulge, they develop demonic propensities in our society. Mm. But these are some of the things, like now we can grow in our gardens where possible some fruits and flowers, and get closer to the nature. And that way develop finer tissues. Okay, let's move on. So, and see, same as like when the Lord comes, when there is a festival, what we do is we decorate the temple, we decorate the whole building, we decorate the house, and even, this was coming from, you know, uh, from Dwarka people, citizens of Dwarka. So when they were welcoming the Lord, that's what they did. They decorated every part of the city. They decorated their own homes. They decorated every part of the city as well. Highways, subways, lanes, marketplaces, uh, indoor, outdoor. Mm. So let's. There is a little thing I think from the 15th. I'll read. Um, In each and every door of residential houses, auspicious things like curd, unbroken fruits, sugarcane, and full water pots with articles for worship. mm, Incense, candles were also all displayed. Prabhupada mentions that not only this welcoming, but also the items that are necessary for worship of the Lord also kept ready. And they are eager to worship the Lord. Mm. And at the same time, many hundreds. One interesting thing I just wanted to mention here in text 29, um, you know, there are many hundreds of prostitutes began to proceed on various vehicles. They were all eager to meet the Lord. Mm. So Prabhupada mentions, if you want to, more into this, but read entire purport. But our sake, for our purpose, we'll just read the last paragraph. Now, I'll read it out quickly. It appears that the prostitutes of Dwaraka, who were so eager to meet the Lord, were all his unalloyed devotees. Imagine, even the prostitutes also. And thus they were all on the path of salvation according to the above version of Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, anybody, doesn't matter, doesn't mind, anybody, um, whoever takes shelter of me, I will, bring them back to my lotus feet. Krishna says that in the Gita. Mam yi partha vyapashritya ye apis yo papa yunayah striyo vaishyastata shudrate apiyati paramgatim. O son of Partha, even the low-born chandalas and those who are born in a family of unbelievers and even the prostitutes shall attain perfection of life if they take shelter of unalloyed devotional service unto Krishna. This is the version. Therefore, the only reformation that is necessary in society is to make an organized effort to turn citizens into devotees of the Lord. Jai Ho, take this point, bullet point. This is the best reformation. Hmm? How to reform the society? By turning them into devotees, mm, giving them this Krishna consciousness. And thus all good qualities of the denizens of events will overtake in them. So when one becomes a devotee, naturally all the good qualities will manifest. Mm. The difference is that the devotees of the Lord are on the path of liberation, whereas the non-devotees are on the path of further entanglement in the material bondage. Mm. So the point here is that even the prostitutes were devotees of the Lord. Anybody, we have Pingala from 11th Canto. Mm. So she was a prostitute, and out of frustration, then she surrendered herself to the Lord, and she sung beautiful poems. There is a song by Pingala, so one can read that she realized the Lord. Uh, so next, move on, and then when other people of Dwaraka, like his close relatives, like his own father Vasudev and others, they started to, they gave up everything and they just rushed to see him. And some of the names were mentioned here: Pradyumna, um, uh, Charudeshna, Samba, they were the sons. And Ugrasena, Vasdeva, Akrura, they were all coming. Um, and when Lord Krishna, when he entered, he greeted everyone there, and also shook hands with everyone. This shaking hands is not something new. Mm. Now, this is also clearly mentioned here. In Sanskrit, the shaking of hands is called kara sparsha. Kara means hand, sparsha means touching, like that. So um, when I was reading, I thought I would just bring this point up. And this shaking of hands was there in our Vedic system, Karasparsha. Mm. Okay, so now, uh, then Lord enters into the quarters, residential quarters of his wives. So we'll read from text 24 till text 29.
Bara Prabhu, are you able to read if you're there?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, yes.
Please, if you could read from 24 to 29. Thank you.
Text 24. When Lord Krishna passed over the public roads, all the ladies from the respectable families of Dwarka went up to the roofs of their palaces to have a look at the Lord. They considered this to be the greatest festival. Text 24. The inhabitants of Dwarka were regularly accustomed to look upon the reservoir of all beauty, the infallible Lord, yet they were never satiated. The Lord's chest is the abode of the goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is the drinking vessel for eyes which hanker for all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting places for the administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refugee of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his lordship. As the Lord passed along the public road of Dwarka, his head was protected from the sunshine by a white umbrella, with feathered fans moved in semicircles, and showers of flowers fell upon the road. His yellow garments and garlands of flowers made it appear as if a dark cloud were surrounding simultaneously by sun, moon, lightning, and rainbows. After entering the house of his father, he was embraced by the mothers present, and the Lord offered his obeisances upon them by placing his head at their feet. The mothers were headed by Devaki, his real mother. The mother, after embracing their son, sat him on their laps. Due to pure affection, milk sprang from their breasts. They were overwhelmed with delight, and the tears from their eyes wetted the Lord.
Thank you, Prabhu. Sorry, I mentioned exchange with wives, but actually the with mothers. So yeah, this is the first exchange. So and the Lord, after he entered the residential quarters of his mothers, and Prabhupada mentions that looks like there is a separate residential quarters for Vasudev. Vasudev, father of Krishna, had 18 wives. Uh, and Devaki is his real mother, and the 17 or his stepmothers. Mm. So they all had motherly feeling towards Krishna. They were all in that vatsalya rasa, the parental love. Mm. So he was embraced by the mothers, and he offered his obeisances to them. And so Krishna treated all the stepmothers as his own mother. Mm. Uh, every human being has every person has actually seven mothers. Prabhupada writes, Atma Mata, Guru Patni, Brahmani Rajapatnika, Denor Dhatri Tata Prithvi, Saptaita Matara Smrutaha. Mm. So every person, every human being has seven mothers. Own mother, Atma Mata; Guru Patni, the wife of teacher; Brahmani, wife of Brahmana; um, um, Rajapatnika, queen; um, then
Nurse.
yes, the wife of spiritual master; and Dhenu, cow; Dhatri, nurse; and Mother Earth. Seven mothers. So is Vasudev, his father is also his guru. Mm. Although they were stepmothers, but they are also mothers, wives of his father, who is also a teacher. Mm. So they are considered to be his mothers as well. And see the point here: due to affection, and the milk just sprang from their breasts, This was repeatedly mentioned when that natural love and affection comes out. Then this is what happened. Even with in the case of Mother Yashoda, it is repeatedly mentioned whenever she sees Krishna. That's what happens to Mother Yashoda. Now let's move forward. Text 30 till 39, please.
Hare Krishna. Sumedha, are you there to read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Please, if you could conclude for us.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thereafter, the Lord entered his palaces, which were perfect to the fullest extent. His wives lived in them, and they numbered over 16,000. The queens of Lord Sri Krishna rejoiced within their minds to see their husband home after a long period abroad. The queens got up at once from their seats and meditations. As was socially customary, they covered their faces shyly and looked about coyly. The insuperable ecstasy was so strong that the queens who were shy first embraced the Lord in his innermost recesses of their hearts. Then they embraced him visually, and then they sent their sons to embrace him, which is equal to personally embracing. But, O chief monks Bhrigus, though they tried to restrain their feelings, they inadvertently shed tears. Although Lord Sri Krishna was constantly by their sides, as well as exclusively alone, his feet appeared to them to be newer and newer. The goddess of fortune, although by nature always restless and moving, could not quit the Lord's feet. So what woman can be detached from those feet, having once taken shelter of them? The Lord was pacified after killing those kings who were burdensome to the earth. They were puffed up with their military strength, their horses, elephants, chariots, infantry, etc. He himself was not a party in the fight. He simply created hostility between the powerful administrators, and they fought amongst themselves. He was like the wind which causes friction between bamboos, and so sparks a fire. That Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, appeared on this planet by his internal potency, and enjoyed himself amongst competent women as if he were engaging in mundane affairs. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate the Lord as one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. The simple and delicate women truly thought that Lord Sri Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller.
Thank you, Sumedha. So this will be a very nice ending of this chapter. Yeah. So next, the Lord entered into the residential quarters, palaces of his wives. So he had, we all know that 16,108. Prabhupada writes clearly that, so maybe we can read that he actually expanded into 16,108 now. He came as one person, one personality, and then now he expanded himself into 16,108 and entered the palace of each queen. Let's read the purport here. That's big, but I would leave it there. No problem. I think there is no need. That's the mention. So the point here is that each queen had her own residential quarter, and there is a nice description in the 10th canto as well. Once Narad, sage Narad, wanted to see how Lord Krishna is managing his time, or spending his time with 16,108 wives. He got actually bewildered at the end. Uh, so whichever queen's palace he went, Lord was doing something there. Uh, so he's there in every palace. Mm. So sometimes people may imitate that, Lord Krishna had several wives. Uh, why can't I? But can you manage them? Can you expand them? Can you expand yourself into many personalities? It is not possible, isn't it? Yeah. Um, so the one thing I wanted to mention from text 33, that the goddess of fortune, although by nature always restless and moving, could not quit the Lord's feet. So, what woman can be detached from those feet, having once taken shelter of them? Mm. So, which devotees dare to quit the lotus feet of the Lord? Last paragraph, I just read it out from that text 33. Generally, people engage in service are always seeking some post under a government or the supreme enjoyer of the state, isn't it? Uh, so if you get a job in a reputed company, and then we feel great. Since the Lord is the supreme enjoyer of everything in or outside the universe, it is happiness to be employed by Him. Once engaged in the supreme governmental service of the Lord, no living being wishes to be relieved from the engagement. Madhav Kumar Prabhu,
Hare Krishna, bro.
this is this is nice, isn't it? Huh?
Absolutely. I
Yes.
was actually thinking about this, the point that you're just making. If I can just share a little bit.
Yeah, let me finish reading this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once engaged in the supreme governmental service of the Lord, no living being wishes to be relieved from the engagement. See, if you work for a state or if you work for any company, you look for retirement. You look, you wanted a break, you want a weekend, you want an holiday, you want retirement after that. But actually, if you work for Krishna, you feel that you will be never relieved. You don't want to be relieved from that engagement, because that engagement is a joyous engagement. It is an holiday itself. Please note this point: the highest perfection of human life is to seek some employment under the Lord's supreme service. Jayo, this is the highlight of today's class. The highest perfection of human life is to seek some employment under the Lord's supreme service.
Sorry,
That
bro. Where was this? I missed it. Which purport is that? 37?
33.
33. Sorry.
Okay. 33. I'll just share the screen also if you want, because
So I can highlight it in the
yeah,
book.
yeah, this is a bullet point, isn't it? Actually, there are two bullet points. That's one. Once engages in Supreme Lord service, nobody wants to be relieved.
Yeah, last paragraph. Found it.
And the point here is that this is the highest perfection of human life. We seek some employment under the Lord's supreme service. So we should always see that how can I serve the Supreme Lord? Mm. The best way to serve the Supreme Lord is by serving Prabhupada. When we serve Prabhupada, we serve the Supreme Lord. Just always see in whatever capacity it may be. It need not like someone, you need not to do so much, but at least whatever in our capacity. And that will make one extremely happy. One need not to seek the moving goddess of fortune without the relation of the Lord. When you leave that statement, but the point is that we should all seek some service, some employment, under the shelter of Supreme Lord. You want to make a point there, Madhav Kumar Prabhu?
Yeah, no, I was just wanting to share. I was listening to Guru Maharaj Radhanath Maharaj's class on Mansarovar pastime, where Krishna's Rasalila and several other pastimes have been conducted. And it is mentioned that the rasa engagement obviously is the highest form of exchanging affection with the Lord. So simply to be able to participate in that service exchange with the Lord,
Yeah.
even personalities like Lord Shiva and Lakshmi Devi were willing to give up their positions. And Lakshmi Devi even leaves Narayan in Vaikuntha to be with Krishna and serve him in that position. And Lord Shiva is willing to become a woman to serve the Lord in that exchange. So, such is the importance of being able to have an opportunity in the loving exchange, serving the Lord and his devotees.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much for sharing. Actually, Mother Lakshmi, it is said that she was unable to enter into Ras Leela of the Lord.
Mm.
Uh, there was this nice pastime described in
Yes.
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yes, and then she got some suggestions from the Sakhis, and then Shri one got established, etc.
Yes. And all these wives of Krishna, they became wives of Krishna, queens of Krishna after performing many, many thousands of years of tapasya, austerity. They were not simple women, by the way.
Yeah.
To get into that position is not easy. uh, and one point mentioned here that it appears like a mundane activity externally. Lord married, Lord is having these pastimes with his wives. Externally, common people think it's mundane, but can you expand yourself into 16,000 personalities? Prabhupada mentioned some yogis makes expand themselves into some 8 or 9 forms. But can you lift Govardhan Hill? Can you dance on Kaliya? Can you kill Putana? Mm. So these are not mundane, these are pastimes of the Lord. Uh, they act as a medicine for all of us. And in the last text, it is mentioned that the ladies, the queens, thought that Lord was controlled by them, although he was the supreme Lord. So it is not out of ignorance they thought the Lord was controlled by them. It is the potency of Yoga Maya. Just like Yashoda Maya never thought Krishna to be God. uh, Gopis also, they don't think Krishna to be God. Uh, so because this is a different, because that transcendental exchange has to take place. Uh, if Yashoda Maya thinks that Krishna is the Lord, the transcendental loving exchange will not take place. Uh,
Mhm.
so this is the point that Prabhupada makes in that purport. Uh, that yes, they thought is under control, although it may not be true, but that was a transcendental relationship. It is because of the effect of Yog Maya. Mm. So
Excuse me, can I just ask a question on that, please?
yes, Mataji, show.
Thank you. Sorry I was late. The bus was late. We didn't get into 7:15. Basically, is it the internal yoga maya then
Yes,
that's covering in the spiritual
yes.
angles, whereas we get covered by the material? Is that
True,
correct?
true. Internal potencies, Yog Maya, Yog Maya, internal energy. Mm. She brings everyone closer to the Lord, and the external energy is Maya. She takes away us from the Lord. You're absolutely right. So the relationships, the pastimes that happen between the Lord and Lord's devotees are facilitated by this internal energy, Yoga Maya.
Thank you so much. That makes sense. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So yes, it's 2 minutes over 8 o'clock. I'll stop it there, and if you have any comments or questions, otherwise please do so. Otherwise, I will ask Madhav Kumar Prabhu whether he has any announcements to make. I know that we got some calendars. Are you there, Madhav Kumar Prabhu?
Yes.
Can't see
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Prabhu, no announcements. What I wanted to do, just take a couple of minutes if that's okay,
Sure.
is to say a little prayer on behalf of all of us. We are in the second day of December, and it's in the West the most festive time of the year. And we are all fortunate to be blessed by the Lord, but there are so many unfortunate people without shelter, food, etc., and going through all sorts of sufferings. I just wanted to say a little prayer. It's a very famous verse from the Bhagavatam, from the 5th canto. If I can maybe request you to bring it up on the screen, 5.18.9. And then maybe we can just quickly read it together. And as a family, we've been trying to memorize it.
Oh, this one. Yeah. I know this was Swasti. Yeah. Okay.
So if we can just read the translation. Maybe Shailesh Prabhu, would you like to just read the translation for us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing Bhakti Yoga. For by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of Supreme Transcendence, Lord Shri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in the thought of Him.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I just like to sing it on everyone's behalf, and then offer that to the Lord's lotus feet, so that we remain protected, and everyone around us also experience the same joy and happiness that we do by being blessed. Swastyastu Vishwasya Kala Prasidatam Dhyayamstu Bhutani Shivam Mitodaya Manascha Bhadra Bhajita Dadokshaje Aveshatam No Matirahi Hetuki Hari Om Tat Sat. Just on behalf of everyone. That's it, bro. All the updates are in the WhatsApp group. Calendars are available for anybody who needs. That's it from me.
Excellent. We all can actually memorize that beautiful verse and offer. That's a beautiful verse. Yes. They offer it to actually Narsingh Dev in the canto.
Prahlad Maharaj's prayers to
Yes. So this is good.
What is the number?
518.9.
Thank you.
All living entities become calm by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Everyone becomes, even envious people also become calm when they practice Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah,
So
it's made into a very beautiful song by Janavi Devi.
Yeah.
So we've got it on the record. So it's just, you can have the audio version online on YouTube. It's very nicely done.
Okay, so
May I ask, is it possible to get a link to that, please?
Yes, I'll post it in the group, Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
No problem.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Baba.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Gandharaj
Jai Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai.
Jai. Jai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Viva.
See you all next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.